This conference will now be recorded.
Guys, any of you have any questions on the topics, on the sessions, or anything in general? If you have any question, feel free to ask before I go to the session, guys. Okay. So if you don't have any questions, if you still have questions, you can reach out to me offline in the chat. I'll try to respond in the chat. Okay. Okay. So what we'll do today is more from a demo perspective, right? I'll pick one of the topic from this, and then go over that for next 30 minutes, just for you to get understanding of how these sessions are going to be, more in terms of how comfortable you will be from my way of teaching. For you to get that glimpse of that, I'll just take a topic which might not really need a from a continuity perspective. I'll pick that topic and then I'll go over that. Okay. So the topic which I'll pick is the from a client side analysis or client side profiling perspective. Um, I'll go and uh, go and teach about the client side optimization. Okay. That is what we will do it for next 20 to 30 minutes. Okay. And then we'll spend few minutes on the questions, and then if there are any questions on the course, we can spend some time, and then we will get started with the actual sessions from the next class. Okay. So let me move over to the client side. So most of you might be heard about this client side profiling or client side optimization or end user experience, right? Normally, when we do a load testing, we mostly look into the HTTP request and response. That is what your Jmeter or LoadRunner will simulate, right? But it won't provide you the exact experience that a user will get it from a browser. Say, for example, you log in, you open the browser Chrome in your laptop, and you go into Flipkart or Amazon, and you go to the home page. Uh, the experience that you will get, right, the response time that you will get might be different from the results that you would have got from your Jmeter or LoadRunner. That is why it is very important to validate your client side or your end user experience. Okay. From that, okay, there's a testing angle to it. There is also a engineering angle to it. Okay. So you test it, you find out the page size, you find out the response time, and a lot of other things from the developer tool. And then on top of that, from an engineering perspective, if you want to provide some recommendations, optimizations, what are all those effective optimization that can be given very easily by looking into a few things in the browser. Okay, that is what we will cover it from the. I'm not going to go over all these navigation APIs, paint APIs, metrics, all these things. We will park it for the actual session. I'm just going to cover only the optimization, which is something very it doesn't have any connectivity to any of the other sessions. Okay, that's why I picked this. So if you are a performance tester or a performance engineer, if you wanted to provide a recommendations or optimization on the web page, okay, what are the things which you can give it? Okay. So number one, there are 5 things which we are going to look into it. One is the resource compression, minification of JavaScript, combining the style sheet and the JavaScript from the same domain, and then the cache expiry header, and then content delivery network. The idea is to reduce the page size, reduce the number of requests. If you do that, there will be definitely a impact on your response time positively. Okay. In fact, it will be more. It will have a more impact when a user is going to access these application under a low bandwidth from their mobile Chrome, if they're going to load the website, right? So under low bandwidth, definitely, if the page size is more, if there are a lot of requests, then your response time is going to be on a higher side. Okay, so as a performance engineer, your objective, your responsibility is to optimize the web page, to reduce the page size, to reduce the number of requests. So what are all ways you can do it? These are the few things. So first is on the resource compression. Okay, so resource compression is, let me go to the developer tool. Okay, I'll just open this site because the site is not properly optimized. So I always take this as an example. Okay, I go to the developer tool. Okay, and in the developer tool, you go to the end, and then open your last go to the set more tools, and in there you can open the developer tools, or you can give Control Shift I. Okay, both will open your developer tool, and the developer tool, you go to the network tab. Okay, so in the network tab, I'll just reload this page. So when you reload this page, in the bottom, you will see something called 2 MB transferred and 4.7 MB resources, right? Uh, so here you have two page size, 2.8 MB and 4.7 MB. Okay, so when the server is going to send or transfer your file, it is 2.8 MB, but the actual page size that is it will be rendered is 4.7 MB. It is similar to when you send an email attachment, you zip it and then upload it to your email, right? So the reason is to reduce your file size when it is going to go over the network. Similarly, the server will compress your resources, okay, and then it will send a lesser size compared to the actual size, which means the compression is done properly. Okay, when you look into this data, you will know that whether the page is compressed or not. If in case your pages, if both the page size are similar, or it's not more than 50%, then the compression is probably not applied to a certain resources or to the entire page. Okay, so compression is very, very important because it is going to reduce the page size over the network. If the page size over the network is very, very high, then it will slow down your transfer. Eventually your response time will be slow. Okay, so typically this compression will be applied at the your service. Okay, say for instance, if I go to the Tomcat, okay, and then open the I think it's server.xml. I'll just go back to the configuration and then go back to the server.xml. Okay, so in the server.xml, there is something called compression. Okay, so I'll just take this. Okay, so the compression in the server.xml is where we provide the port in which your application will listen, thread connections, a number of threads will be given here in the server.xml. The same place, you will also have the compression equal to on, and then you will provide the all the resource type, compress the text HTML, text XML, application JavaScript, style sheet, all these things you will provide. Whichever resources you wanted to compress, you will give all those resource type here. Okay, once you give it and start your server, this will be applied to the your web page. Okay, so for now I'll just not keep it. Okay, and then what I'll do is I'll go and start the server in the Tomcat is where I have my um, e-library application deployed. Now the e-library application, I haven't turned on the compression. Okay, let it start. Meanwhile, we'll go to the GRT jewels. Okay, and then we will go and see there. If you wanted to randomly go and look into the files, say for example, if you go to grtjewels.com and go to the headers, okay, there in the header, okay, in the header you will have content encoding as gzip. In the response header you will have something called gzip. Okay, there are a couple of format. Gzip is one of the format, but content encoding should have a value. It should not be empty, or if the header is also missing, then which means the resource is not compressed. Okay, you can go randomly check the different style sheets or javascripts. You will see that the gzip is applied. Okay, so normally what will happen is if the resources are going to serve from a different domains, different servers, okay, there might be a chance that in one of the domain or in one of the Tomcat server where these resources are served, they might have missed the compression. Okay, so few resources might have compressed, few resources might not be compressed. So you can randomly go over all the images, style sheet, documents, and then see whether it is compressed or not. Okay, and then accordingly you can provide the recommendation to your developer saying these resources doesn't have the gzip encoding. Go and do it so that you can reduce the file size over the network. I'll go and start the e-library.
Satish, one question.
Yeah, go ahead.
So basically, right, in order to get the log, right, in that case, because mostly this is handled by admin, the Tomcat start, restart, right? So for us, how to, and so in that case, we have to ask for the log, right, or how to analyze them?
So from a testing perspective, from an engineering perspective, you can just look into the developer tool, and then just 1 minute, I'll just dock it. Yeah. From when you look into the developer tool, right, you don't need a log for this. First of all, first thing is you can just look into the developer tool and then look into the your file transferred, the difference between your size that is transferred versus the actual size. That should be a difference. If it is not equal, if it is equal, then it means it is not compressed. Or say if it is 4.7 MB resource size and it is 4 MB or 3.5 MB, then you can go over each of these files and then look for this header. That is one way you're going to validate it. Okay. Second way is if you have access to the server itself, then or you can just inquire with your architects or inquire with your server teams to go and check the server.xml where they would have provided these configuration. See, it could be server.xml, or if it is a Spring Boot framework, there might be some other configuration file, a global file where they would have declared. You can validate those configurations. You can just ask them to provide the compression, whether it is on or not, and what all resource type they are compressing it. You can inquire that. You can validate it by just browsing over that file. Or the best way to prove that is or validate is in the developer tool. You can look over the resources. Those are the two ways you can validate this.
So is there any best practices? What should the compress size or actual compared to actual size?
No, see, the compression will be taken by the server, and there is no recommended recommendation in terms of how much it has to get compressed. See, apart from the images, right? Apart from the images, the JavaScripts or style sheet, it's all the text, right? So whatever mode, I think there's a mode called BR, there is a mode called gzip. All these things are all, I think it will compress all these text into a proper way. So which means if the compression is on, it is going to get compressed. The image alone, it won't go through these compression, because the compression will impact the clarity or the pixel of your image. The marketing sites, your retail sites will need a better clarity images. So it won't be compressed through service. Normally, the your web developers will use the Adobe or whatever tool they use it to create those images. There, they will do the compression directly on the image, and then they will deliver it to the your server. So image, it won't go over there, but there it is a trade-off, clarity versus image size. But rest of JavaScript or your style sheet and all, it's a plain text only. So not any compression, it will the compression, if it is on, then it is good enough.
Okay, okay. So for example, what we have for website, right? So I see the transfer 2.8 MB and the resources, I think more than 4 MB. So do you see issue over here, or I think transfer size
See, yes, if you go over here, right, there might be images. Okay, if you see the images, just go over randomly. Okay, the image might not have been compressed. Okay, so you need to see out almost 2 MB is the images. Okay, which means images, the transfer size and the actual size might be, mostly it will be same. So you can just go over, if at all you see a difference, just go over to the image and then see how much MB of images are there, which means remaining is what it would have been compressed. Similarly, your JSONs, your dynamic calls, XHR calls, mostly even that will not go over the compression. It's JSONs are always going to be very lightweight, 1 line, 2 line response. So you will mostly not have a compression applied to that. So apart from images and your JSON response for XHR, everything else will be compressed. So if you see that you don't have a lot of images, just say 100 KB of image, even then you see a difference of transferred versus actual size, then you can anticipate that there is a something is getting missed, and then you can randomly go and look into the rest of the resources.
Okay, okay. So okay, so the compression happen mostly the Java code, right? Or
offline. The image compression will happen offline, but the other compression, the server when it is going to serve, it will compress and it will serve it.
Okay, okay, yeah. Hey, thank you, Satish.
Yeah. Good. Yeah, thanks. Okay, so on the similar line, right? On the similar page size related recommendation is going to be on your minification of your JavaScript. Okay, so you have this JavaScripts. Okay, and there are a lot of JavaScripts. In fact, 49 JavaScripts are there in the site, and then 655 KB of JavaScripts totally in terms of page size. Okay. So minification. Okay,
sorry to interrupt, Satish. One more question. What is the minification? Can you please explain on that?
Yeah, that's why I'm coming. Yes, that's why I'm coming. Let me go to this minification. If you see this slide, right, left versus right, the left is a JavaScript which is very neat, very readable format, pretty much important for a developer to enhance it or debug it. It's very important. The right hand side, it is all over the place. You couldn't able to understand anything. It's all bundled or jumbled together. For your browser, it doesn't need a clean JavaScript or a clean lines of code for it to execute it. It doesn't need comments. It doesn't need white spaces. It doesn't need line spaces. It doesn't need anything. It just needs a function and the code, nothing else, right? So minification is nothing but removal of comment, removal of white spaces, line spaces, so that you can minimize the size of a JavaScript as much as possible. Okay, the savings might be per JavaScript, it might be just 1 KB or 2 KB or 5 KB, not more than that. But when you put together all the JavaScript, there are 50 JavaScripts. Even if one JavaScript you're going to save 10 KB, then 50 into 10 you're going to save 500 KB, which is nothing but 0.5 MB. Okay, if you just go over this, right? For example, this one, there's a lot of white spaces and all these things, right? If I'll just go and copy it, and then you can randomly check when, if you have a web application that you're testing it, go over all the JavaScripts and see whether it is minified properly or not. Okay, um, for your learning, or to know how much the savings can be, you can just go and copy this, and then uh, go and minify. Okay, and then this is what it will look like. Okay, so this again, when you're going to go and provide this recommendation, and when you go and when they apply these changes, you might not really get a huge response time improvement. In some cases you will not even see improvement, but putting all this recommendation together at some point of time, especially when you're going to access your application under a low bandwidth, you will definitely feel a improvement, not visibly, but yes, it will have an impact at some point of time. And these are the best practice you need to always follow. Apart from the your license related comment, everything can be all other comments can be removed. See, obviously we'll have a comments explaining why we have this function, when we have done this changes. All these comments are going to be there for a better debugging and maintenance, right? Like these things. Okay, but for the browser, it doesn't need all these things. So the developer has to maintain one minified version for serving your server, for before producing it to the server, and they will have one version to debug it. Okay, so as a tester, or as an engineer, you just go over each of these line items or JavaScripts, and then see whether it is minified or not. Probably if you go to the I would say Flipkart, right? uh, Definitely you will see that a lot of JavaScripts will be minified, because obviously it is a commercial site. Definitely somebody would have done this performance optimization and all. So you will see, definitely see, if you see here, it's minification is done properly. You see, don't see any line spaces or white spaces. Okay, so that is second recommendation. Definitely it will have a positive impact on the page size. It will reduce the overall page size. And when you combine when you look into the number of JavaScripts, then obviously it will provide you the 0.5 MB or 0.4 MB of reduction in page size.
Is the
Okay,
compression done for this JavaScripts here?
come again.
Is the compression done for this JavaScripts along with the minification?
Yeah, correct. See, minification is you minify it at the code level, and compression is the server is going to still more. The minified JavaScript is going to get compressed. It's nothing but it is going to zip it. Right?
Zip it.
So first thing, removing all the unwanted lines from this file. Second is the zipping it.
Yeah, is that shown in the developer tools for this JavaScripts? I don't see that in the tabs that you are showing. Like the header, gzip header or something.
Let's see. Here in the response header, control content encoding is not done. Yes, it's not done. Yeah, it is done for here. VR is there. So in some of so let's see the domain. What happens is, okay, all these things are all Flipkart domains only. Yeah, few things they have, it got compressed. If you see this vendor.chunk, it is content encoding is done. It is coming from static asset web Flipkart, and then here it is done. Here it is not done.
Satish, Dana here. See, encoding is something different from compression, right?
No, the header the header that relates to I think the word encoding is more in terms of you from a security perspective. You say it will get encoded or decoded, correct? That is what you mean.
Right. So encoding and compression are two different topics, isn't it?
No, uh, the encoding when they encode it, okay. Um, Here in this context, it is the compression. It is what are the word you see it here is the gzip. Gzip is one of the compression mode. So that for that the header what we see here is the content encoding. Maybe the word might
Yeah.
be a little bit misleading, or there might also be encoding decoding might happen along with the compression, but the uh, property or the header for compression is content encoding for sure.
Can
Along
you
with
please
compression, they
share?
might also
Can you please go back to the URL which you are showing that where the gzip is enabled in your sample one?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let us continue.
Yeah. Okay. See, if I go to this probably this login, okay, let it come. Okay, so we'll go here and then close it. In the response header, if you see, there is nothing called content encoding. Okay, let me quickly go over to the server. Okay, and then copy this. So, sorry. Save it, and then let me just go and restart this.
See, yeah. Meanwhile, one question in this uh, compression method, it is also includes the images and JPEGs.
Yeah, normally the images will not be part of this compression. The main reason is, as I said earlier, it will be rest of all your uh, um, fonts, everything will be compressed. So
Satish, your voice is cutting.
is it okay now?
Oh, yes, we can hear
Is
you
it
now.
okay? Oh, okay. 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 So it is started. Let me go back and then clear it. Okay. You see that content encoding is gzip that has appeared when we turn on the compression there in our file. Okay. Again, we will not go over verify all these things from server configuration perspective, but more from the developer tool, you can definitely go over these resources and then validate whether the content encoding is there or not. It will compress definitely. It might also maybe do a encoding and decoding in terms of transferring it securely over the network. But definitely compression header is the content encoding. Okay. So similar to the JavaScript, the way we are compressing it, right? There is one more best practice is to um, combine your JavaScripts. Say, I'll just go to the JavaScript alone. There are 49 JavaScripts. Okay, and then if you go and sort the size, right? There are a lot of JavaScripts which are less than a KB, less than a 2 KB, less than a 3 KB, right? So as part of the best practice, if the JavaScript is coming from a same domain, okay? See that there are domains called cdn.ebola, GRT jewels, and there are some static domains. The JavaScript which are served from a same domain, see there are 10, 15 JavaScript served from a grtjewels.com. So the idea is to combine couple of these JavaScripts into one JavaScript in order to avoid a round trip time. So every network call, every request will make a network call. It will get connected. It will then go and do a request. Then the response will come. Then the download will happen. Right. So to avoid this round trip time, which is always costlier, if possible, we will not go and say that you go and combine these five. It's up to the developer to know. He will know which one to combine, which one not to combine. There might be some other business logic into it. But as a performance engineer, we can go and say, see, there are a lot of 20, 25 JavaScript which are less than 3 KB or 2 KB. Why can't you go and combine these JavaScript? There's only one line of JavaScript here. There is only 5 or 10 lines of JavaScript. Why can't you go and combine these into a one JavaScript so that it can be served with a single request itself? We can avoid 5, 10 round trips. Okay, so that is applicable for your style sheet. That is also applicable for your JavaScript. We're not going to combine JS plus CS. Combining the style sheets with other style sheet and combining the JavaScript with the other JavaScripts. So the objective here is to reduce the number of requests. Earlier, the compression and your minification of JavaScript is to reduce the page size. Here, combining the JavaScript or combining the style sheet is more in terms of reducing the number of requests. Okay, this will again going to have a impact on your response time, not immediate effect. All these things you will not be able to go and prove. I have saved 1 second or 1.5 seconds, but if you really wanted to go and test these recommendation, you have to test your website probably under different slow bandwidth, right? For example, there is something in the developer tool. There's something called slow 3G or fast 3G, or you can even give a certain bandwidth and load your page. So when you go and do this testing under a slow 3G, and then you get all these page size, response time, and then provide your recommendation. After the recommendation is done, then you're going to compare these two data. You will definitely see a difference. Under a good bandwidth, even a 2 MB or 2.5 MB will not make a big difference. 50 requests or 70 requests will not make a big difference. But under low bandwidth or slow network, you will definitely feel a difference in terms of response time. Okay, fine. So probably what I'll do is I'll just pass this session for now, since it's a demo session. A lot of people are yet to join. I will not rush these things further. If you guys have any questions, feel free to ask the questions in the chat or over the voice, in terms of this demo session or in terms of overall content of the or batch, anything, please feel free to ask questions.
Do you provide any materials?
Materials, yes. Performance engineering documents will be provided by the Isha. They have good artifacts related to the engineering that will be provided. That is from the documentation perspective. From the our session perspective, whatever we do it, that will be uploaded to the drive for you to download the code or script or war file or some of the response time document, profiling document. All these things will be uploaded to the uh, drive. So both will be available.
Including the session video?
The demo video demo videos will, sorry, the videos will be available in the YouTube. The access to that will be provided to you. The video will be available in the next day. For today's session, by tomorrow noon, you will get the demo video. Sorry, the video recording will be available in the YouTube.
Okay.
Yeah, Satish, one question. In the section of the memory leak analysis, heap time analysis, garbage collection analysis, we'll be covering the depth level, right? Or hands-on on that one, right? Am I audible, Satish?
Yes, sorry, I was in mute. So all these things will be done hands-on only. I'll be creating the memory leak. I'll be creating the issue with the stack, and then we'll be going and doing the memory leak analysis with the JProfiler, and then heap dump analysis with the Eclipse mat. We'll use DC log to look into the logs. So all these things, yes, it will be a hands-on only, not any theoretical sessions.
Okay, but we'll cover the high-level theoretical, and then we'll go to the hands-on. Okay. Okay.
True. Yes.
I think you had a sheet, right, where the software can be downloaded. If you don't mind, can you share that one, or we can download and we can install before the session?
Yeah, we'll give the access to the drive to everyone shortly. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Also, if you tell us any other applications needs to be installed in our laptop so that we can be ready before the session start.
Yeah, I have a video. I will have a video where I would have spoken about how to install these Java environmental variables. Sorry, how to install the Java and set the environmental variables, followed by Tomcat and war file. I'll share that video as well to set up these things in your laptop. So minimal thing what you need is Java, set your environmental variable, and then you need a Tomcat. That's it. If at all you wanted to have the code, then you need Eclipse, where you can also set the e-library project in the Eclipse, and then you can also use my Java files, which will have a response time problem or memory leak problem. You can also import those files, but that's not mandatory. Eclipse and having the code is not mandatory. So somebody is not comfortable with that, you don't need to worry about it. You're not going to miss anything. All you need is Tomcat, and then Java in your mission, and the testing tools, of course, JProfiler, Visual VM, the AppDynamics cloud version, all other tools you will need to install it. But to minimal thing that you need to start is the Java and Tomcat. And as we progress each and every session, probably I'll tell you what tools needs to be installed. You can go and install it from the website.
For AppDynamics, it's not a free tool, right? It is not open source, right?
Satish, your voice is breaking.
Is it my voice breaking, guys?
I can hear you, Satish.
Okay, okay. If it is bad, let me know. I'll disconnect and connect back.
But I think your I mean, you're clear for me. I don't know for others, but
Yeah, I think you're not audible to some people. In between, your voice is getting cut actually. Now I could hear you, but
Okay, okay, okay. Okay. The question was, I forgot the question.
AppDynamics. I was asking for AppDynamics,
AppDynamics.
right? So it's not open source, right? So do you have any free for trial version, something like that for AppDynamics?
See, AppDynamics on the cloud, they provide you 1 month of trial version where you can connect to
Now you're not audible.
yeah, his voice
more
is
than
going
one
into.
server. For
Mhm.
one application server, there is no time limit. You can use it for a month.
You're
Maybe I think I have a
in
problem.
between. Mhm.
Satish, your voice is fluctuating. I think you have to repeat
Yeah.
the last two statements.
Okay, I'm back. I don't know whether it's good now or not. Is it okay now?
Yes.
Okay. AppDynamics over the cloud, it is free for 1 month. And after 1 month, there is something called a light version, which will be you can use it for. There is no restriction with respect to the time. Okay. If you don't use it, they will revoke it. If you use it actively, I've been using it for 2 months, 3 months once. If I don't use it, they will revoke it. But you can use it for your learning for sure. You can connect with one server, one application server. So in your laptop, if you're going to have this e-library application, you can connect that using AppDynamic Java agent. You can install the Java agent in your laptop, in your Tomcat, and then configure it. And then you can connect with the AppDynamics cloud, and you can use it for, there's no time limit.
Okay. Probably we need your help to configure that one probably, but yeah, we can get reinstall that. Yeah.
We are going to cover that as well as part of the session. Yeah.
Okay. Mhm.
Yes. Yes.
Satish, before you ask us to install anything, you will be guiding us, no? Like what to do. I mean, how to install it and everything. Like now for the next session, if we need to install something beforehand, you would be showing us what to install and I mean, how to install it or something.
Most of these tools are something self-explanatory. It is just that you need download, click, click, click. It will get installed. Most of the tools you will not have a problem at all. Initially, if you set the Java and then the environmental variables properly, uh, that is where you will have a problem. Probably with Tomcat also. Otherwise, JProfiler or JVisualVM or AppDynamics, any other tool, you will not have a problem. Most of the tools will be extractable only. If you find a problem, I will let you to troubleshoot it, because that is one of the important aspect we have to learn on troubleshooting the problem. If at all, if you are still stuck, I can definitely help you. Every mission is a new mission when you go and install Java and Tomcat and all. Even I have a problem even today. Everybody will have a problem, and we can fix it by seeing what kind of problem what kind of issue we are getting, what kind of error we are getting. We can go and fix it. There's one video which will guide you for Java, setting up these environmental variables, and then Tomcat. That I will pass it on to you. I'll ask the team to upload that video. Other tools, mostly it is all self-explanatory only. It won't be difficult. But if you're stuck, yes, I can guide you.
Okay.
Also, please guide us which version that you want us to install, either JDK 1.8 or 1.9, and similarly for other applications.
So preferably, there's no preference. Java 8 is okay. Anything more than Java 8 is okay. Only thing is, if it is Java 8, Java 11 or Java 14, the corresponding Tomcat has to be installed. I think Tomcat 10, you can install it with the current version of Java 14, I guess. there will be compatibility issues between Tomcat and Java. Rest of the tools, I don't think it will be a problem. So you just go and install Java, install Tomcat. You will find compatibility problem. Let's face it, because always it is going to be. Tomorrow you will install some other tool, there will be compatibility issue. You will get to know that problem. We'll fix it. It will be fun, and it will also learn a lot of other things. When you get an error, you search for something, you will learn a lot of things, rather than getting first time right. Always good to get issues. So you go and install Tomcat, you go and install Java as per your preference of version. Let's see how it is going to work.
Okay.
Yeah, if you still want, I have the Tomcat, which will Tomcat uploaded into the Google Drive. With Java 8, it will work. You can also directly download the Tomcat and use it. Or if you want to give a try, you go and give a try with whatever version you're going to get it from the website as well. If you got stuck, I will provide you the Tomcat version, which you can use it directly in your machine.
Sure.
Okay, fine, guys. So yeah, we'll continue in the next session. And any questions you have, just put it in the group, and I'll try to answer it. Yeah. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Yep.